Disclaimer. The content featured in the following broadcast is purely for educational information purposes. It is based on real-life experiences and POV.
And please do your own research.
In my last video, we looked at how Ebony Prince has been tweeting a lot about activity involving young people and trans people going on at the Mark Hotel and how it's being covered up. And he posted that Drake was live streaming from there on an app known for Revenge P called Monkey that was allegedly referenced in the Not Like Us video. And when he posted a picture of a ring that was apparently owned by Tupac, along with references to P. Diddy, Andrew Tate and academics, you have to ask yourself, what do they all have in common? And once you see it, you can't unsee it. He's called Drake out as a perv by showing us an email where he asked staff to address him as Dick Fitzenwell. So it's kind of like a cringy name, but he really has an LLC called Fitzenwell Trust LLC, which he uses to buy property with. He's even got it on his sweatshirt. And so Fitzenwell is named on an incident report. A waitress at Caspia in the Mark Hotel was bitten by a patron, and Fitzenwell is named. And Ebony Prince tweeted that a security guard had to resign because he knew that no one would support him or believe him against Drake, Mr. Fitzenwell, even though there was video evidence to show what happened. Just like the Intercontinental Hotel had the video footage of Diddy beating on Cassie that was kept secret for years, despite it being one of the most brutal attacks of DV you could imagine. Let's not forget, Drake was seen in various dog masks at the same time as this incident. And so this tells us that even if you're a victim of a violent attack by someone like Drake, and there's video evidence, you will not be believed. And I think that's why Ebony Prince has to talk in riddles, which some people find frustrating. But he's literally telling us why he can't say what happened directly, because it would be refuted. As in, tell us what you know about Drake without telling us what you know about Drake. So we have to start using our little grey cells and start putting the evidence together for ourselves. And another bit of evidence, which is on video. It's pretty hard to find, but it's out there. I don't see a lot of people talking about it, but this guy, that's one of Drake's entourage, hands him something and he thinks he's being discreet putting it in his pocket. If you saw this in real life, you'd know what it is. But the news is not going to show you that information until they're given the okay. And the media is fed their information by record labels and the agencies that look after these artists, aka the handlers. And there's an artist in the UK called Rebecca Ferguson, and she has made a lot of videos about this back in 22 and 23.
They manage somehow to manipulate the public. So the reason why they get away with it, I hate to say it, but it's because of the public. The fact that you haven't listened all these years. So many, you can look back how many people have spoke out. So many people have come out and said, time after time after time, this happened to me. And unfortunately, because of how they have such a hold on the media, no one's believed the victims. And the reality is that's how they get away with it. They manipulate the media, and unfortunately the public believes them and supports them, and that's why it continues. And every time someone speaks out, and they've spoke out on multiple occasions, a lot of the public laugh at them. They say things, insulting things like, oh, maybe you wish you was more famous.
Public are so influenced by what they are fed, they can't see what's going on in front of their eyes. Or maybe they don't want to believe it. And all through the 2000s, it became normal to see people on the lower levels of the entertainment industry shamed via TMZ, Perez Hilton, Wendy Williams, etc., calling them train wrecks when they literally had their own substance abuse issues going on. And social media became the bullying playground as long as you had a big following. But 2024 has become the year of exposure, and it's become impossible to keep a lid on all the cover-ups and lies that have been told for so long. And that isn't just in the music industry, but we're sticking on that today. So the music industry needs to keep the illusion of wealth and success, so the artists have fans to buy their product. And as I mentioned in my last video, the people who actually own UMG, the label behind Drake, Diddy, Kendrick are old white investment guys, and all they know how to do is to try and make a profit by selling shares of their company. And so the artists have become like agents for them, recruiting more young people who they try to sexually exploit and treat like literal slaves by love bombing them, promising them the world, introducing them to substances, giving them alcohol, and then controlling their career. And then they're in debt, and if they say anything, they're harassed or threatened by people like this guy, Stanton Stein, who of course is a professor of law at Stanford Law School and represents Drake, Simon Cowell, and DJ Khaled. But maybe it's because the music industry's pyramid scheme model is starting to fall. Many more victims are being heard this year through legal representation, and the lawsuits are not going away, although they still receive the same public backlash and are trolled and not believed and often have to live in hiding. And it's crazy how it's always the same group of people that are being implicated, which is what I think the ring refers to.
Where are you coming from?
Diddy had a memorial party.
At his house?
That's a man that has nothing better to do in life. Like, who is taking his word? Like, why do we take his word? Like, why?
We have to do our due diligence. If someone tells us something, we have to investigate.
Nobody that he could literally be lying.
And that's why we have to investigate to see if it's true or not.
Investigate it, but don't take his word. Like, you can't take nobody's word.
No, I know, and that's why we haven't put you in the back of our vehicle and taken you to jail. Because we gotta investigate. We don't know what happened.
We gotta take me to jail. It's on camera.
At this point, you're being under arrest for two things: fleeing the scene of an accident and for being under the influence while driving.
I'm not under the influence. So go ahead. All of you test this. I didn't.
Yeah. And you fled the scene of an accident and you caused major injury to a person.
Yeah, to a child, not a person.
As of now, that's what it is.
Because my bag, my phone. And then even when you come back, you're still yelling at me. You're yelling. There was condos. People live there, man. And you're yelling, bro. You're yelling. And then I even asked you, hey, what have you been drinking all that, bro? It's like, I smell it off of you, man.
It's alcohol. It's Miami, bro. We drink,
bro,
but
maybe you gotta tone it down.
My thing is like I could drink and be focused. I'm so focused.
Well, look, apparently not, man. Not today. Not today.
Now, compared to some dealings I've had with the police, they're acting very polite to the artists, who are giving some entitled attitude, and their fans will claim they're being harassed by the police or say that it's a setup, and that's because they've been manipulated to think Travis Scott's God's gift and a billionaire, which he definitely is not. And the yacht that he's just been kicked off, which is why he was so angry and why the police had to be called, wasn't his. It was hired and would have been paid for by someone he was working for. Because when his contract time was up, he didn't want to leave. And the real owners of the yacht wanted him off. But try telling the fans that. But Lil Rod, who's suing Diddy because he never paid him after a year and a half's work producing an album he was promised he would get a Grammy for, and is the first man to actually accuse him of SA, and has never been caught on police cam footage for drunk driving, because we'd know about it if he did after Diddy hired a PD to find dirt on him. Well, he's trolled and told he's only doing that for clout. I take his allegations seriously, because look how the other artists be acting, and he talks of how Diddy's arrogance allows him to manipulate people, and in his lawsuit he had photos of underage sex workers being brought around Diddy, exactly what girls have been saying since the 90s. And another thing that doesn't get reported is that girls of this age do not choose to do that voluntarily. We've seen how Epstein used a network of young girls and bribing techniques to get more girls on board. And in this interview with Tisa Tells, he explained how it goes down.
When you say that people admire him so much, do you think it's just for that they admire the money, or do you think it's something deeper that these people have this slavish devotion to him?
Some of it's the money. Some of it is he's just very, very good at finding ways to manipulate people's minds. He's a very, very arrogant person. You know what I'm saying? Outside of being arrogant, I said it and I mean it. In my opinion, he's a monster. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that he does is like considerate of anybody else but himself. Everything is about getting the glory for himself. And then you got people out here who's worshiping that and worshiping his money. Like, yo, stop it. You're never going to get none of it. I know you're at home, like living through him, but let's be real. You know what I'm saying? He's gotten millions and to billionaire status off of stealing You know what I'm saying? People's works, their rights, their talent, their publishing, their respect, their whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's my opinion.
So what he describes in the interview, which I really recommend you watch, go do your own research, is that he surrounds himself with yes people that are paid to be loyal and act out of fear, and that he bullies people and that he gets them to take substances so they do what he wants. And I can speak from personal experience here that someone I know who was very young, for him here in London, she volunteered this information to me. We got on the subject. She didn't know I knew anything about it. It just goes to show the stretch of his predatory ways. For 2 days while she was at work at a private hotel bar, him and his crew harassed and relentlessly tried to coerce her into going out with them, which she refused. They tried to give her drinks, all of it. She even asked her boss if she could not work there while they were there. And she would get off shift and come back the next day and they'd be sat there waiting for her. And so no one knows about this story. It was a chance conversation that she even told me about it. But it completely mirrored the description of the assault that occurred on the yacht in another accusation against his son. And this girl is not an SEX worker. She did not want any part of it. But imagine if they had got a hold of her. Imagine if they had drugged her and she'd come forward. Then how would it be described? So it's no wonder Diddy keeps hold of everyone's phones.
Need the phones and need the phones. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And Quincy, I know you have 2 phones, Quincy. Oh, there you go. That's what I love. Yeah. Just Flow. I'm so proud of you, Just Flow. Look at that. Got all the phones. I have everybody's phones. So we got 2.
Now, in the music industry and the fashion industry, there's a lot of travelling involved. So it makes it the ideal front for trafficking. Because when you break it down, that's what's really going on here. And Lucian Grange, who's named in the lawsuit, and his son Elliot Grange, both executives at UMG, well, they know what's going down. And Academics speaks of meeting Elliot Grange at a venue called Delilah's in West Hollywood. He says there's executives there and paid models, let's just say that.
You went to an Illuminati party. What happened? That was weird. It's like everybody in the industry was in one room, even the people who hated each other, acting like nothing's happening. There was like these girls, but like it was like weird. It was almost like hate escorts. Like they're dancing off beat, all executives in the game. Like that night, I wasn't supposed to go in. It was actually I figured out what place it was in LA. I remember what place it was, but I was supposed to meet somebody in a parking lot. I don't know how we ended up going in there. And the whole time I'm in here, I'm like, what is this? Wait, so you're in a parking lot and you end up in an Illuminati party? I got invited. You got invited? No, not to the event. Not to the event. To meet with this guy, but he was going to be there.
The son of Lucian Grange, the most powerful guy in music. He's the guy who cuts Drake all the hundreds of millions of dollars check. He cut the Billy for Birdman. He has an indie label because, you know, you give your son something and work it out. They signed Trippie Redd, 6ix9ine. 6ix9ine was not the label favorite. He has a song called Gummo. I like the song. His label owner was like, yo, whenever you're in LA, like, we should, like, you know, catch up for drinks. I always tell this story. 2017, I don't know no label people. So I show up to this place. I always called it the Illuminati Hub. It was everybody in the world that had some importance was in it. I learned later it was called Delilah. But I didn't know that's how LA moves. Like, all these executives, they might compete with each other in daytime, but at nighttime, they all frequenting and partying in the same spots. They talking business. I didn't know about networking like that.
Delilah. It's known for its modern take on the 1920s, and everything about this place screams luxury. There are usually no photos or videos allowed at Delilah.
I showed up there, everybody's in suits. That's the first time I seen Steve Stout. Apparently, I never seen Ebro after that, but Ebro and Leslie was in the room too. Somebody else from Sony was there. All the important people that you hear about, but you never see. That's why I called it the Illuminati meeting, because I couldn't believe that, wait, all y'all powerful music people be in the same room? So I met with him, and I said, man, I was interested why he even wanted me to meet with me. He said, I can see you're a very powerful influence in the culture of media. And whatever you say, you as a person, your platform influences a lot.
Well, it's interesting that in 2024, Academics has been accused of assaulting and trafficking and contacting underage girls. as well as luring and drugging girls that use OnlyFans into making videos that he could then distribute, with his main income being as a Twitch streamer, and Elliot Grange catching on to this in 2017 and wanting to pay him to promote records on Twitch stream, the same platform with so many predators at loose, like Aiden Ross, who's friends with academics and Drake. And all of these people have the same weird allegations.
Shout out to Aiden Ross, though.
Yeah, shout out.
You know what I'm saying? And then based off of that, you know, he just know how to build loyal people to him. You know what I'm saying? Or he know how to go find loyal people and bring him on a team. So he requires that loyalty, but it's not reciprocated.
One thing I've found from doing research is making music is not what anyone is making money from, least of all Drake. Like Diddy, he's built a career off jacking people's style while pretending to help them, and he makes money out of investments. And to keep these operations going, he needs a lot of young girls to make him look attractive and trustworthy. And trigger warning, the following clip is gross.
There's certain people, when they move around, everyone just kind of like, also all the clout trousers outside. Bro, no, they shipped them in. Because there was one of these kids, I think, what's his name, White Kill Cyrus, he's like, yo, Drake bringing like 400 bitches to the house. I was like, oh, word. I don't know who curates all this stuff. Should I be talking about this?
Bro, 400?
Listen, we know there's women at Drake's house.
Yeah.
Nobody,
I didn't know it was like Sparta. That's crazy.
There's bitches at the OVO party?
What? The thing is, like, they all park at this venue.
Yeah.
And then they get shipped.
What is the venue? Is it
like Blood
Diamond's dick? They just put a light on top of Blood Diamond's dick.
But like they park at this, like they get, I don't know who curates it. It's a good system. They meet at like a parking lot. They park there, and then they get in the buses, and the buses drives to the estate or the embassy.
Exactly. You can't let any rough
The Playboy Mansion used to do that.
Same thing. Everybody meets to this thing, and then we'll take it.
And then
VIP.
Because we pulled up to the house, right, and then we're getting clearance. And while we're in our Sprinter, I see this van pull up to the house, and it was like, you know those clown cars when like clowns just like, bro,
they got makeup all over their face, just like a clown.
Okay, so all of them. Wow. So when Homeboy was moving around the party, you could see like they just like. It's him and LeBron at the house. It was like that. But LeBron was cool because he didn't have to say what's up, but he saw me and he's just like, yo, he pulled up and we talked for like a minute.
That's so fire, dude.
So the narrative that's always pushed in the media and on the podcasts is that these young women are chasing after the men, hunting them down for money and clout. Only that's not adding up with what we hear from the girls and the victims. Because in reality, they are being preyed on. And streaming platforms and OnlyFans has just become the latest way to find new recruits.
The recruitment process is, you message them on Instagram.
I was contacted by Andrew Tate, the older of the Tate brothers, 3 years ago when I was just 16.
Daria was 16 when she says she received a private message on Instagram 2 years ago from Andrew Tate's account. It read simply, Romanian girl, followed by a strawberry emoji.
What do you inbox the woman? I live in Bucharest, Romania. That doesn't matter if I'm in London, Bucharest, Moscow, anywhere I am. I just say Bucharest ? Or Moscow ? Or London ? Sometimes, because like I said, intrigue, I'll put a completely pointless emoji on the end. Some cherries, or an orange, or a strawberry.
I asked around to my other friends and my classmates, who were also 15, 16 at the time, and a couple of them also told me they received messages.
So I messaged her, she's like, I'm only 16. I was like, give a know about me.
It was a pretty well-known fact that he had kind of a network of young girls.
You know what I mean? It's like, what the fuck would I ref for you? You've got a fit sister who's 16, maybe.
Muslims have the best frame on earth. I want a virgin wife at 16 who's going to obey me. That's what I want.
You know, you said it looks like I'm in a teenage girl's bedroom.
Yeah.
To some people, that would be an insult, but to me, I find that quite flattering, to be honest.
Drake is on the lookout for new teenage girls so they can be exploited by the entertainment industry, and at the very least, the companies that he has investments in, and we'll get back to that in a minute, they are using and collecting data from their websites to sell. What we can't get away from is these people all know each other, they hang out together, and behind the scenes, they have businesses together.
Diddy and Ross, which they're good buddies, okay? They're gay.
Who?
Both. Diddy and Ross and Khaled, they're all gay. Okay?
DJ Khaled, Ross and P. Diddy?
Yeah.
They all gay?
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Khaled is a Harlem supporter.
Child exploitation alert.
You guys, I am here with the one and only, the producer, the father, the boss runway model, the Jordan 3's lover, and the legend and the goddamn DJ Khaled.
Thank you for this amazing intro. Ooh. You know, that last thing we did at the Grammys, when you interviewed me on the red carpet.
Yep.
Man, I got so many phone calls. They said it was my best interview ever.
Really?
For real.
Why is DJ Khaled promoting himself to kids via a kid influencer? I didn't even know about this kid till I started making this video. His music is not kid friendly. He wants us to believe he makes so much money from it. It doesn't add up. And apparently he doesn't like to pay models that star in his videos that he finds on Instagram, so you see the pattern. It's no secret that Drake has many shell companies and he's always hanging out with DJ Khaled. And remember, DJ Khaled knew Christopher Alvarez, who was at the Mark Hotel with Drake. To try and make sense of what they're up to, you have to do a lot of digging. Seems like they're part of a network that have a lot of investment companies. One of them being DreamWorks LLC, which doesn't seem to be active anymore but was invested in production, by all accounts, crypto. And one of their investments was apparently MoonPay, which is one of Mr. Beast's former manager's investments, so there's another connection. And well, it seems pretty obvious they are trying to introduce the idea of gambling and trading in crypto to very young people, which, as we all know, was a way to scam people. But then I came across a business registered in the UK as a limited company. Now, anyone can register a business in the UK as a limited company. You just need the directors and the secretary to go on record, and then once your accounts are published, you pay what's called VAT, value added tax, back to the government. But as you can see, they haven't filed any financial records. And what's even more interesting is that the directors of this business are named as Drake, Aubrey Graham. Then we've got LeBron James, who resigned after a day. We've got DaBaby. We've got DJ Khaled. We've got Lil Baby, Rick Ross, Nicki Minaj, and most surprisingly, Rihanna and A$AP Rocky. Now, this is going off on a bit of a tangent. It is impossible to know the legitimacy of this business. Has the owner of this company, this Polish guy, tried to commit fraud using these people's names? Well, it's very odd that they haven't said anything about it, because they've used Drake's agency's address as a correspondence address and DJ Khaled. So I'm assuming that those offices would have opened that correspondence and they would know about this. And if they didn't, that's a big risk to take for the owners. So it's safe to assume that they did know about it. Now, it's clear they all resigned on April 1st, 2024, which is this year. But the founder, well, he still has other businesses going, and one of them has an investment channel, which again was a funnel for crypto investments during the COVID period. And closing a company and restarting it under another name is a way to avoid paying debts or tax. But it's very clear to see that Drake is moving a lot of money around and he is not transparent at all. So let's use what we have evidence of and not what's reported, because we know we can't rely on that. Drake drinks a lot and he uses substances and he's moving his money around with shady deals, which some people might think is being smart, but he's not honest about it. He hides it and he uses people to make this money. And remember when Ebony Prince said he's not as rich as he makes out, because lawsuits and bad deals cost money. And he engages with Instagram models who he treats like objects, apparently, and pushes himself to a younger and younger audience. He wants access to lots of young girls around him. And I'm going to round up the video by saying that another thing we know is that investors, the people who invest in these companies that Drake sets up, these investment funds come from the bank. And to keep them sweet, the banks spend a lot of money on entertainment for them and exclusive entertainment offers like VIP seats and exclusive parties. And this is what Epstein did for them. And the lawyers like Alan Dershowitz, who represents Diddy. Only to this day it's still being covered up There's so much evidence that people, young people, are being trafficked. They're being coerced onto video shoots, onto streaming platforms, and to VIP parties. How many artists have come out and said this? And that they're being deceitfully coerced. They're not sex workers. They're being drugged and forced into this. Are we going to listen to them, or are we going to have their narratives reframed by the plants who get paid to lie? And are we going to ignore that Drake's business model is the same as Mr. Beast's? They are using their power to influence teenagers and younger.
And then he attaches a link with the caption, "Exploring the influences of YouTubers on adolescents' identity." And the link sends you to a document with the title, "The YouTube Effect on Adolescents. Exploring the Influences of YouTubers on Adolescents' Identity Construction." And it's basically a research article on how YouTube affects kids. I'm not going to read the entire thing. It's like 17 pages, but again, it'll be linked in the description if you want.
Like I said, once you see it, you can't unsee it. So what do you think? Does this all make sense, or did I get anything wrong? Let me know in the comments, and maybe like and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one.